much can't, right? There's a balances report, there's a holdings report, there is an account profile report. But those demographics are kind of based upon, one subset, or let's say one silo of information. eAnalytics 2.0 is going to allow you to look across the spectrum of information that you'd find within a client's workbook: holdings, order trade status, activity, demographics, things like that, and tailor the report to your needs. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can utilize 2.0. We're going to start with generating an account report. Real basic example, let's say you want to find accounts that are holding a particular money fund balance or have a particular net worth. How do we do that? So I'm going to transition into NetX360. I am using the newest version of NetX360. Through the newer platform, eAnalytics 2.0 is available within the menu, which is in the top center of the screen. From the menu, on the left-hand side, you've got reports and documents. Under reports and documents, you have reporting, and you'll see the link for eAnalytics 2.0. Within the Liberty, or the older version of NetX360, you're going to go to the Service and Operations menu, and under Service and Operations, there is a reporting section there, and within reporting section, you're going to see eAnalytics 2.0. So again, in the newest version of 360, it's under Reports and Documents. In the older version, or the legacy 360, under Service and Operations, there's a reporting section there. Either way, you want to find the hyperlink for eAnalytics 2.0, and that is going to bring you to the landing page. So there are 4 subsections or pages within eAnalytics 2.0, and by default it always lands us on a summary. So the summary is where, under report selector, you're going to be able to see if there's any reports that your firm has pushed out to you, right? Every brokerage firm kind of has the option to say, hey, at the firm level, we want to set up templates that allow,
Do you know if we have some?
or that we want to allow our advisors or sales assistants or operations to be able to, run statistics off of. So if a report has the yellow icon, and that would be the standard report template pushed out. I'll also show you how you can create a report, and also based upon reports that you create, share them with other users, right? So I can identify if a report's been shared to me from another associate, and that would be a report that's indicated with a shared report template, or if it's a report that I've created myself, right? So we try and identify those easily here. So that's what's under report selector. Under favorite reports, that's where if I am looking at reports that I have looked at from the firm level, or one of my fellow associates has created a template, and something I really like, I'll show you as we progress through today's demonstration, right, how you can see that as a favorite, and then your favorites will appear within the center category. In order to generate a report, it's one of 2 ways. You can begin a new report here on the right-hand side, and we're going to focus on accounts and trade reports, but also note there is a report to run for lost security holders and participants, which I'll touch on in a little bit as well. But you can run a report by selecting the appropriate type of report and clicking on Go, or by clicking on Generate Report. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So within Generate Report, you'll see that in the drop-down, it's what I saw on that previous screen, my 4 options for accounts, lost security holder, participant, and trade. So I'm going to start with account, and we're going to start from scratch. Right? We're going to create our own template. So we have filter criteria. Within filter criteria, we provide you numerical steps that you would need to complete in order to run the report. And the first is the field grouping. So if I look at the field grouping and I click on the drop-down, what this allows me to see is the different areas of interest that I can run data from, right? Do I want to see account information? And if I click on account, and I was actually playing around with this earlier, so let me remove these filters. So if I click on account, notice that under step 2, choose field, I have things like employee, I've got household, I've got inception date, I've got things that are related to it. Is an auction account, open date, scroll through, W8, tax status, so forth, right? So there's a lot of things that are related to the actual account. When you click on any option, right, as an example, let's say tax status or W8 date, and click on add, what it does is it adds it to the right-hand side. So under tax status, am I searching for exempt accounts, non-exempt, retirement accounts, or so forth? Right, so again, you're selecting a field grouping, which drives, and I'm just going to remove these. What I select in step 1 drives what I see in step 2. So another example, and for the one that we had in the PowerPoint, is balances, right? I'm trying to find cash or accounts that, let's say, have a money fund of greater than $100,000 and that maybe reside within a particular state. So when I select balances under field grouping, my options under choose field or section 2 change, right? I have funds due, funds unavailable, margin. Maybe I'm trying to find all accounts that have Fed calls, house calls, margin balances, all accounts that have a net balance greater than a certain dollar amount. Right? So again, this is all driven by what I select here. So I recommend as a newer user, you come in and kind of scroll through some of the different options that are available. Client online access, gain loss return, holding, name and address, suitability, so forth. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select balances, and I'm trying to find accounts that have, let's say, cash balances or money funds greater than a certain dollar amount. So I'm going to come in here, and I also want to point out is, let's say you don't want to scroll all the way through this list, right, because there are a lot of fields that are here. You can actually use the search, right, and let's say I want to do our money fund, right, I can actually come in here and type in a keyword, and it's going to run through all of the different groupings and try and find fields that are related. So I type in the word money, and you'll see I've got money fund balances. So all I do is I select my field, I click on add, and it adds it to step 3, which is define criteria. So now my money fund balance, the default operator is equals, right? But if I'm trying to find all accounts that have a money fund balance of greater than, let's say, $100,000, I just change my operator, I come in here and I put in a value, and let's say I type in $100,000. Now, notice that under step 4, I have lead accounts only and transaction details. Lead accounts only is if you are running reports based upon household information, right? Because some of the information is household related. So if you're running household and you only want to pull in the primary account in that household, that's what that drives. And then also, you'll see transaction details is available on the format output. If you were running like if I need to see trades for the last month, right, or I'm trying to look at asset movement, things like that, then you want to see the details of the transaction. That's when that becomes applicable. And a lot of these fields or sections, if you hover it over, it does give you additional information. So, in my most simplest form, right, let's say I'm just trying to find all accounts that have a particular money fund balance greater than $100,000. All I did was type in the field grouping. I typed in the word money to search. I selected money fund balance, and I threw in my value. Now I click on display results, and it's going to provide me a list of my accounts below. Your results are driven by the filters in the top left of the screen. So if you have access to multiple IP or rep numbers, right, or multiple office ranges, be cognizant of the filters that you have up top, right? Are you looking to run this for just one particular rep, right? And so I can come in here and I can type in just that rep code or just a particular office range, or do I want to run it for
you organize yourself, or is Rock?
that, again, is going to drive my results. So what should happen is, let's come in here and bear with me 1 second.
I figured either way, the account reports are saved in Rack, I think.
Okay. You have the same access though? Under your name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go ahead and display our results. So within the results, you'll see it gives me the account number, the first, the last name, the phone number, and then because I searched by money funds, right, I'm trying to find all accounts that have a money fund balance of greater than $100,000. It added that to the results as well. When I generate an eAnalytics 2.0, I have the ability to export it directly to Excel or PDF by simply clicking on the icon on the right-hand side. This table, right, or the results we're taking a look at, I've got a couple of options. I can drag and drop the columns, right, so if I do want to export this, I can kind of play around with this here. So if I wanted, maybe the account number, then I want the last name, then first name, money fund, and then the phone number, right, I can move the columns around before I do the export. I can also do filtering directly on the screen. So if I'm trying to find the accounts for, let's say, the public family, I can come in here and type in the letter P. It automatically narrows the results down. Now, in my example, right, it was very simple. I just said, hey, I'm trying to find all accounts that have a money fund balance of greater than this. One of the nice things or benefits to eAnalytics is that you can run the information against multiple data streams, right? So what if I'm trying to find all accounts that have cash balances or money fund balances that reside in a particular state? So now what I can do is I can come in here and under the search I can type in state, right? So now I add here the field address, I click on add, and I'm trying to find all clients that have cash available, let's say New Jersey, because there's a new municipal bond that's made available, and I'm trying to find a list of potential clients to invest in there, or invest in that position. So I'm going to scroll down, let's select New Jersey, and note that when I have multiple operators, a new field appears, the logical operator. So does an account have to meet both or one of the criteria in order to display my results? So in my example, right, I'm trying to find clients that have at least $100,000 in the money fund and reside in New Jersey. So then I'm going to select and as my operator because they have to meet both criteria. Now I can click on display results. Because of that, you'll see that I now have a new column up here, and that's my address, right? Because I indicated that I'm looking for all clients to reside within New Jersey. So I'm going to pause for a second and see, do we have any questions on anything I've touched on so far before I kind of build off of this? And if you did meet your line, it is *6 to unmute if you have any questions thus far. Okay. So I don't think we don't have any questions just yet. So in that example, right, where I'm saying I'm trying to find accounts for all that have money fund balances for all clients who reside in New Jersey, right? Under my address state, they're all going to be New Jersey. What if, though, I don't care what state they live in, but I do want, well, I don't want it to be just New Jersey, but I do want to know what state they live in. So within my filter criteria, there's another tab, and that's format output. So let's say I remove New Jersey, right? I still want to find all accounts that have $100,000 or more, but it doesn't have to be a particular state, but I want to know what the state is. Well, that's where format output comes into play. So filter criteria is what am I searching for, right? What criteria does this account have to meet in order to see my results? Whereas format output is what do I want to actually see on the results, right? So I do want to see the state that they do reside. So I'm going to come in here, and on my second tab, and I just find it easiest to do a keyword search versus doing the field groupings. But again, come in here and kind of play around it and see what's available. I'm going to select state. I'm going to add the address to the output, right? And then I'm going to click on display. So now I should have all accounts that have $100,000 or more, regardless of what state they reside. So again, that format output drives what I actually see. So you'll see I've got Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Florida. I'm sure if I scroll down, I have some other states that are here. Where before, only the accounts where the client resided in New Jersey would have appeared within my actual table. Another example that I think people use this for is maybe e-delivery, right? So I can come in here and I can type in e-delivery, and you'll see again under filter criteria, all I had to do was put in e and a hyphen, and now I can say I need to find all clients that are not turned on for e-delivery confirms or statements. So I'm going to add both of these. I'm going to click on add, and here I'm going to change my operator to no. And under my logical operator, I'm going to say either or, right? Because I want to know if because maybe they have e-delivery on for confirms, but they don't have them for statements or vice versa. So I'm going to say no to both options and select logical operator or, right? Because that way they'll satisfy either one to appear on my results. I click on display results. Note that my address still appeared because I didn't remove that from the format output, but I did add e-delivery confirms and statements. So I can now generate a list of clients that have not turned that option on. So what if you find a report that you want to save, right? And say, hey, this is a good way to utilize eAnalytics 2.0, and I want to be able to come in here and, just quickly run it on a, not necessarily a scheduled basis, but whenever I need to, pull in the information. Well, in the center of the screen, you have Save as Predefined. So when you click on this, you're going to get a little pop-up. I'm going to name this my e-delivery report. I'll give this just a second for the data to pull in here so I can go ahead and type in a name. Alright, so I'm going to type in e-delivery. And the default category is my list. You can actually create buckets on your summary tab, right? The summary tab, you can say, I want suitability reports, compliance reports, balances, investment opportunities, right? You name them whatever you like, and maybe I'm going to just name this, just like communications, right? So I have several reports that kind of I look at, see if they're set up for e-delivery, do they have online access, accounts that are missing documents, right? So I can name this communication, documentation. Let's go with documentation. Let's change it to that, right? So you can name the category whatever you like. Put in a description, and this is going to show me a list of all clients that are not set up for e-delivery on statements and confirms. And then you have the access type, right? So I named it, I created my own category, I put in a description. Now, usually a lot of people will create a private report, means I can just use it for my use. Public, 99% of the time you're not going to have access to that. That's mainly at the firm level, right? Because that creates that firm or that standard template that pushes it out to everyone. So usually you're going to have access to private and shared. If it's shared, and you want to check with your firm to verify that you have access to this, what this allows you to do is click on the share button, and now let's say I'm an advisor or I'm a sales assistant and I'm working on a team of 4 or 5 people. I can create this template and say, hey guys, I just went in and created an e-delivery, so you'll log into eAnalytics 2.0, you're going to see it there, so if anyone else has to run it, they don't have to recreate the wheel or start from scratch. They'll see the template that you put out there. So this allows you to actually search by first or last name. So I want to share this with my contact, Jessica Sepulveda, and then also my other contact, Charlie McKenzie. So I'm going to share this report with these 2 individuals. I click on OK. I can mark this as a favorite, which puts it back in the center column of my summary tab, which I'll do that just to show you, and I'm going to click on Save. So it lets me know that the filter has been saved successfully. So let's go back to my summary tab. And within the summary tab, let me go ahead and minimize this here. So it would be under our accounts. We should have, it should appear, let me go ahead and refresh my screen. I'll give this just a second. But it should appear under accounts, my document report, or my e-delivery. I'll give this a second here just to update. Alright, so there's my e-delivery report. Notice that the icon to the left is blue, right, because it's a report template that I created, so it's here. Also note that I did add it to my favorite reports, so it would appear within the center column here. There's the e-delivery. So all I need to do in order to run it is simply click on the hyperlink. It's going to bring me back to, or should bring me back to my center screen here. You'll see there's my e-delivery confirm, my values of no. When you come in here and you are running a report that you already set up, notice that under my filter criteria, I can't come back and change or add this, right? All I can do is change my values to yes, no. I can't add additional filters. And if I go to my format output, I can't change that either because this is a template that I've created. So in order to go back and say, oh, well, you know what, I actually want to add additional information, what this would allow you, the only way you'd be able to do that is to copy that into a new template. So there's a couple things you have once you create a template that you can do. One is you can change the values within the filters, and you can save that, and that overrides it. Or you can change the filters and say, you know what, I want to tweak this a little bit and save it as a new template. So now I'd have maybe e-delivery confirms. I have another one that says, well, show me, e-delivery for confirms but not statements, or vice versa. And then I click on save as, and notice that allows me to create it as a new template. In order to actually change the output or add new filters, you have to click on copy into new, and that brings us back into the original screen that we saw that allows me to start from scratch, add additional information. So maybe I want to build upon this and add, e-delivery for a particular state, maybe a country, or again, anything else that I kind of want to add to it. Also want to point out real quick, let's just pull up that e-delivery again. When you come in here and you select from that hyperlink, right, it will allow you to see or change the category, so you don't have to always go back to the summary. If you create other categories or other reports within that category, you can select it from the drop-down to toggle to the other report. To delete the template, right? I don't like this e-delivery report, or I just want to get rid of it. It's actually manage filters. So it doesn't necessarily say delete, but what you do is click on manage filter and remove the filter, and you're removing that template. So now if I go back to my summary, my e-delivery is no longer here. So that's how you delete a template. So I'm going to pause there and see if you have any questions on anything I've touched on so far. *6 to unmute if you have muted your line. All right, so let's go back to generate report. Again, we've got new. I just want to point out some of the other fields just to maybe kind of get some thoughts going out there as to what you might want to run. Note that if I go into holdings, it allows you to search for maybe all accounts that are holding a particular fund class or fund family. All right, so I'm going to come in here. Let's get rid of e-delivery. I can come in here under fund family. I would just type in the name of the fund. So maybe I want to find all accounts that are holding Putnam funds, and I'll be able to click on display, and it's going to provide me that information. Under my filter criteria, let's go back. We'll take a look at some of the other options that are there. And again, because you have the ability to create these as private reports, I recommend you come in here, again, look at the different options that are available. So as an example, suitability, maybe liquidity needs. I'm trying to find those clients that have particular liquidity needs. I can click on add, high, low, medium, time horizon. Right? These are all the things that are under our suitability. So again, that filter criteria is what am I looking for. On the format output, it's what do I want to see. And then the other thing is scheduling a notification. So if you're running a balances report, or if you're a cash available report, under scheduling notification, you can indicate, do I want something to, or have 360 run the report for me? If so, do I want it to be available daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly? And you even have some flexibility. So if I select monthly, maybe I want it end of month, or maybe I need it on the first day of the month or mid-month. You can choose how many months, every 1 month, every other month, and on what day it runs, and what the duration or that time span is. And then also, you'll be able to indicate if it should be Excel or CSV. Once you put in your filter, what you're going to do is click on Save Schedule. So before, when I click on Save as predefined, that was just a template, right? You had to go in and you had to run that report. If you click on Save Schedule, you're going to come in here, and I can name this my monthly, cash report. I click on Save, and when you save the report, it will let you know that it's been saved or scheduled successfully, and anything that you schedule shows up in your Scheduled Reports tab. Right? This isn't the report itself. This is just showing you a list of reports that you said, hey, I want to run on a regular basis. It lets you know the frequency, and and the date until which it's active. Also lets you know the next time it's going to be scheduled. If you decide to run reports on a regular basis, they show up in report status. So you'll see here is my report status. Once it's available, simply click on the download hyperlink, and you'll be able to save it to your desktop or a shared drive, whatever you decide, as the Excel or the CSV file that you decided when you set that up. If you decide you no longer need the report, you've downloaded it, you can just select the checkbox to the left and click on remove. And on the scheduled report, if you don't want to run the report anymore, right, for future reference, you need to actually remove the report from the schedule. So again, the status is the actual report, the scheduled report is the list of reports that you're setting up. So I don't want the counts report anymore, I'm going to get rid of this one. I click on remove schedule and it will no longer run for me. So I'm going to pause for a second. Again, any questions on generating reports, scheduling, the difference between filter criteria versus format output? So let's touch on the trade reports. So under our accounts or our report options, right, we've got security holders, lost security holders, and participants, which I'll touch on in just a second. But trades is the second to most common. When I select a trade report, everything's exactly the same. What I want to point out, though, is that the field groupings is a little bit different, right? Because we're looking at trade-related activity. So let's say I'm trying to find all solicited trades for the last month. Again, I can go down and I can look at trade, but notice this is quite a lengthy list. So if you've got time, you definitely, I think, I recommend you come in and kind of peruse through. Anything that's underlined will give you additional information from a pop-up. But I'm just going to do the search, and I need to find all solicited trades, right? So I just type in the first couple letters of solicited. I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to say yes for my operator, right? I need to find all solicited trades. One thing to point out with the trade report is you need to add a time reference, right? So I'm trying to find all solicited trades for what time frame? The last business day, the last month. So under my search, and I can either go to trade, or I'm just going to come in here and type in the word date, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to select trade date, click on add, and notice that I've got last business day, last month, last quarter, month to date, and so forth. You can also change it and say, I need to find all trades on a specific day, right? So equal then, or maybe between a time frame, January 1st to today. So that's where you're going to change your operator based upon what it is you're wanting to see. I'm going to go ahead and do mine for, let's say, the last quarter, all solicited trades. Again, I can go to my format output. This is also a little bit different, right? We've got additional information that came in here. Now, with the format output, you can remove anything if you're like, I don't really need to see this on the output of the trade. Also, in the center of the screen, you can reorganize or rearrange the fields, right? So if I want to move anything up or down, I can select top to move it all the way to the top, down to the bottom, or just line item by line item. I also have that scheduling and notification option, but I'm going to come in here, I'm going to click on display results, and hopefully we'll see all of our solicited trades for the last quarter. And so there's our accounts. And again, to export it, just simply click on the Export to Excel, CSV, or PDF icon in the top right corner. All right, so any questions on anything we touched on so far? And *6 to unmute your line if you have muted your line. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm actually just going to jump back to the PowerPoint. We talked about generating account reports. We talked about generating trade reports, report status and schedule reports. I also touched on. So let's kind of just jump into kind of a recap. Under the report status, that's where you can view the reports. Allows you to see what's been generated. You can also delete those generated reports, and then I'll actually skip the knowledge assessment, and we're going to jump into analytical dashboard. So Analytical dashboards is one of the newer features that we've incorporated into NetX360. What it provides you is a simplified tool that gives you graphical and chart information of some of the details or statistics that you can see in Analytics 2.0. Let's wait for my PowerPoint to pull up. So the dashboards are organized by multiple focus areas, including building client relationships, monitoring operations, and identifying investment opportunities. So what we'll do is transition into NetX360, and I will show you how to access and utilize Analytical Dashboard. So in the newer version of 360, back to that menu up in the top right of the screen, still under Reports and Documents, it's on the right-hand side under Analytics. You'll see the link for Analytical Dashboard. And if you were using the legacy version of NetX360, it's under Service and Operations and Reporting there. I already have it open within an additional tab. So here's the Analytical Dashboard. So as I mentioned, the information is categorized into different buckets per se, right? Building client relationships, managing or maintaining operational efficiency. So based upon your role at your firm, some of these are going to be a little more suitable versus others. So as an example, what is building client relationships? Well, you can actually click on the What's in It hyperlink, and it's going to tell you, oh, I'm able to see accounts by type, active and new accounts, retirement accounts by age group, retirements versus non-retirement accounts. Now, top 10 advisors by assets under management, number of accounts. If you only have access to, if you are an advisor and you only have access to yours, you're not going to see you against the competition, right? That is geared towards operations or the home office. So it knows based upon your user ID what's going to be made available to you. So you would just basically see your account information. But if you click on the hyperlink and expand it just to see kind of what's available to you, and you like what you see, you can click on Add. So I'm going to go ahead and add Build Client Relationships, and I'm also going to add Maximize Client Profits as an example. Once you select the content, simply click on I'm done. I'll give this just a second. And we'll then go into our business analytics. For some reason, it should have segued over. Let's try this one more time. Let's add this again. And add this one. Alright, so we click on I'm done, and there we go. This is what we should see. So what we selected on that dashboard appears in our drop-down, right? I selected that I only want to see build client relationships and maximize client profits. So under building client relationships, as we had seen on the previous screen, when I clicked on what's in it, here's accounts by type, here's active and new accounts, retirement accounts by age group. So again, this is graphical or visual representation of these different categories. I want to see my retirement versus my non-retirement accounts. I can hover over any of them, and I'm going to get the data information or those points, right? The actual numbers. Each of the portlets or windows does a couple of things. One is you can see here, if I hover over it, I can export it to PDF. If I click on the eye icon, it just gives me additional information. And then also I can switch between the graph and the actual statistics or the numbers. So this allows me to see a table view, this allows me to export to PDF, and I just provides me a definition. So I hover over that delta, and that just expands or collapses that little icon menu. I can also maximize any one of these screens by clicking on the square icon. I can minimize it, or I can close it out and say, you know what, I don't really want to see active and new accounts, or maybe I don't do a lot of retirement business, I can close that out. It says closing this portlet will cause this to be removed permanently, and I can say yes. What you would have to do is actually remove the client relationship and re-add it to kind of start that over. So now that I'm here, right, and I'm looking at building client relationships, note that, see the option in the top right corner that says manage content. I can come in here, I can add content, and what does that mean? Well, that allows me to see other portlets that are available, right? So it actually shows me everything, or I can look at it by category, and under category it's accounts, assets, trade, or I can look at it by role. If I look at role, then it's those things we saw on that original homepage. So this is where you can come back and say, oh, I accidentally removed retirement versus non-retirement. I just go back to building client relationships, and you'll see that everything is added, but if I scroll up, there's that retirement versus non-retirement. So I can click on add, click on done, and I can re-add it. So we'll give this just a second for it to reload. Now, what if I come in here and I'm looking at the building client relationships, this was right, the static or the default, and I go back to add content. Again, I can come in here, if I click on add, and for accounts by investor age, and maybe I've got monthly production volumes, I'm just going to start clicking on a bunch of things here. Note, you will get a pop that says you can only have 10 chartlets in a content, right? So you can only have 10 windows or charts within any particular dashboard. But what it's going to do is add those additional 3 items. So even though I started with building client relationships, I was able to add information from those other options that were available on that homepage. You could also say, you know what, I just want to start from scratch. I want to just look at everything that's out there and create my own dashboard. So I'm going to click on Create Custom Content. I'm going to name this My View, or My Clients, right? Give it a description, and I'll just say Jason's Options, right? Just to make this simple. I'm going to leave this as all, but again, I can, when creating custom content, select by category or role. And again, it is 10, but you'll be able to scroll through, look at all the different charts that are available, along with the descriptions, add them up to 10, and click on Done. When that happens, you're going to see that in the top left corner, I'm going to now have a new category that is titled My Clients, plus the 2 original ones that I selected. And then the last option under Manage Content says Manage Predefined Content. That just brings me back to my homepage, and this says, you know what, I don't want this anymore, or I want to delete my client, right? I can remove this, and if I remove, like, let's say maximize client profit, and click on I'm done, then you'll see here for my drop down, it removed it. So now I just build client relationships in my clients. So when you select Manage Content and it says Manage Predefined, it brings you back to that original home screen to say, what do I want to appear in this drop-down here? So I'm going to pause for a second. Questions on Analytical Dashboard. All right, sounds like we don't have any questions. So just to close out, we talked about eAnalytics 2.0. The enhanced data mining tool allows you to generate reports at multiple levels using various data points across a client's account, whether you're pulling information based upon suitability, holdings, trade-related information, and so forth. I showed you how to generate an ad hoc report. I showed you how to save those filters for future use, as well as how to share them and schedule reports on an ongoing basis. Lastly, closing out with the business analytics. So that is going to conclude today's session on eAnalytics 2.0. I will send a line if anyone does have any questions. If you don't, thank you so much for taking the time to participate. I hope you found the call useful and enjoy the rest of your day. And again, if you've got questions, I will be staying on the line for